Hi everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome to the Terulian Football Association, or TFA for short. This is a project I've been running since 2004 when I was around 16 years old. Back then it was a really crude dice game, rolling the dice, writing the results down in notebooks, and that was the season done. Over time I wanted to do something a bit more depth, so I started using list randomizers, then build Excel sheets and simulate full seasons. Now every result, every point, every goal is tracked, and I'm developing some kind of app to simulate some whole seasons for me, and I've even managed to add the league into Football Manager starting in that 1984 season. What started as scribbled tables has grown into a full football universe, and along the way I've created club crests, histories and kits to bring it all to life. As we go through this series, you will see them appear whenever a club makes history. The heart of it all is Terulian, a fictional country inspired by a bit of England and beyond, is Volaria, a whole continent of around 40 nations, each with their own football pyramids, competitions, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get right to the beginning. So why is the reason I did this? So I've always loved the stories of football, and not just champions, but the clubs that nearly made it, the ones that disappeared, the rivalries that defined whole regions. And when you read old league histories, you see the names of clubs that don't exist anymore, but once mattered so much. I wanted to capture that and create my own thing. The rise and fall, the dynasties, the struggles. This league was my way of creating that same history, but in a completely fictional setting. At first it was just for me, but as the years went by it became something bigger, a living, breathing universe, and I wanted to share it. So what are we looking at now? So the way I'm going to work this is I'm going to show you the first ever season for the TFA Football League. I started it in 1874. Because, yeah, just picked it out of thin air. A lot of these were originally written on paper, in notebooks and things like that, as I've mentioned previously, but as you can see on the screen now, is the final league tables for that very first season. So, as I said, it was loosely inspired by England. I tried to create clubs that were fictional. Some of them have somewhat real names, but the majority of them are fictional places, all in this one believable English-inspired nation. As we get late into the 1980s, as I get later on, you'll start seeing other countries as well, but inspired by or mixtures of, so not actually Spain, Germany, this sort of thing. It's actual real countries that I've created. However, the way we're going to do it, I'm going to show you the first season, then we're going to go through a few decades. As the early seasons weren't many results, there was fewer teams, we're going to go through decades rather than season by season, and as we get further along, as it gets more in depth, then we'll do one season at a time and we'll explain and throw up some histories of some of the teams as we go along. So the first ever season, the TFA Football League launched with 36 clubs split across 3 divisions of 12. So we had Division A, B and C. There was no cups, no playoffs, no fancy rules, just a straight league football. Top of League A won the league, bottom 2 went down, and as you can see, top 2 League B went up, bottom 2 went down, and top 2 from League C went up. In Division A, the very first champions were Mustang Harriers. They beat out Menton City and Enord Athletic to win the title. You'll see from this as well some of the future names in there, Spaffington City, Miggy United, these sort of things. They will become more prevalent as we go along. However, where they are now, in my fictional world, which is in 1986, so over 100 years on from this season, they're all in very different positions than where they are at the moment. Division B saw Spaffington Rovers crowned champions, edging out Elbrook Celtic and Ornette United. Miggy City finished safely in mid-table, and then relegated were Kentucky and Slayham City. And then Division C champions were crowned as Havre East Albion, and promoted with them were Lerpy United. At the other end, Chelsea Town and Old Tupian United became the first team to finish bottom of the entire TFA pyramid. So looking back at 1874, very brief, very cool that we've seen this. Mustang Harriers were the first ever champions, and as you'll see from this little graphic, I'll talk about them a little bit. Here's the crest that I've designed for them. So they are formed by a local athletics and runnings club at the time. Like many towns in Tyrolean, they had Harrier clubs, groups of runners who trained together, and in Mustang the club decided to start playing football during the winter months. They're also inspired by in this fictional town there is a local aerodrome as well, hence the logo. It was one of the bigger teams in the south in that 1874, and as we can see, their achievements, TFA Football League winners in 1874. As we go along, I will do these little profiles that pop up for teams when they have significant achievements. So we may see Mustang Harriers again. We will see Mustang Harriers again, should I say. However, their achievements will be added on as we go through the seasons. They've done a lot more since this, but we'll see that as we go along. I hope you're enjoying this, and it's a bit of a slice of something new and different. And then just to give you a bit of a teaser, as I've said before, my timeline is in 1986. That little 36 club setup has grown into hundreds. So I think in the 1986 season, there is over 3,000 clubs in Tyrolean, 20 deep league system, amateur leagues, semi-professional leagues, all the way down to the bottom. Also 39 other nations that make this continent of Volaria up. There's a Champions League style thing that's not called the Champions League, but there is a Champions League style thing. Also that teams can compete in, just the league winners, by the way, if anyone likes that. But we'll get to that as we go along. All of this has come from just that inspired that I love lists, love football, love everything like that, and I wanted to create something of my own, so I wanted to share it. So that's the very first season of the TFA Football League. Next time we'll cover the whole rest of the 1870s, who dominated that first decade, what teams slipped away, what teams were new, what rivalries started to emerge. And then if you find this like sort of alternate history, alternate storytelling is your thing and you're excited to see some other stuff, then hit subscribe and follow along. Drop a comment if there's a club you want me to do a deeper dive in as well, one of these founder member clubs. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the 1870s.